allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll do roll call, starting with Mr. Martin.
Marty Mantonfeld, present.
Alan Steinbeck here.
Peggy Hall here.
Ed Hedges here.
John Barry here.
Patricia
We know that
Zimmerman. Patricia Zimmerman here.
She's online.
Hi, Patricia.
Hi.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to allow Patricia to join this in a voting capacity due to extenuating circumstances. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion by Peggy, second by Marty. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. All right, public comments. Do we have any public comments? Two?
Yeah. I'm excited.
Who's our special guest?
So just a reminder, you get 3 minutes. Come up here to the podium. Hopefully this thing isn't dead.
And you have to talk over the rain.
I'll just give you this one over here instead, because it's not a big deal.
Really coming down.
That's what's nice about these. I can just move them around. All right. When I call your name, come up to the podium. Just state your name for the record. And once you state your name, I'll start the timer. And you have 3 minutes to make your comments. First up is Deborah Gentry. You have to come up here. You have to come up to the podium and you need to speak into the microphone.
And you have to state your name and.
State your name for the record. It's a big spiel I just gave.
Hi, my name is Deborah Gentry, and I'm here in my capacity as president of the Prado Property Owners Association in Pelican Preserve. And what I'm speaking to on the agenda for today is a discussion about what we call the emergency gate or the back gate. It is located on the edge of the Prado area of Pelican Preserve. And recently, as y'all all know, there was a situation with a fire in a garbage truck. Cypress Grove was closed down, and so the Pelican Preserve folks working with Gateway opened that gate up for people to be able to flow in and out because of the fire with the garbage truck. I just wanted to let y'all know that the Prado POA, while we support having that gate opened in the case of emergencies, true emergencies, we do not feel that the infrastructure back there is adequate for it to be opened in circumstances that are not primarily for the use of emergency vehicles, because it's not designed for two-way traffic. There's no visibility for people pulling in and out to be able to do that without potentially hitting each other, because when you come out, you have to do an immediate 90-degree turn and there's no visibility. So, our recommendation is that the purpose for which that gate was established, we're in complete support of, but we don't wish to see that expanded in any way from what its original intent was. So that's my purpose of coming here today. And we were considering, for ease of communication, having our board actually do a resolution in full support of the original reason for it being established, but again, that and not changing those kinds of conditions.
We appreciate your insight. Thank you.
All right, our second comment also from Prado regarding the gate. Excuse me, Suzanne Hamilton. Same thing, if you could just state your name for the record and then I'll start your timer.
No problem.
Suzanne Hamilton. I am here, as she said, to talk about the gate. I was involved as a Prado resident representing the residents of Prado in the initial agreements that created that entire agreement. The problem, I was in it deep on Tuesday, along with probably everybody else, I think. The problem is that was designed for one-way egress in the case of a hurricane evacuation or emergency vehicles coming in an emergency, in addition to the gateway people coming in and out whenever they want. I am completely against, as are a lot of the residents as I've spoken to them in Prado, for Pelican to have any ability to control this gate. It should be Gateway. And there are several reasons for that, and I will say them quickly. And that is because we need a veil in between. It's owned by Gateway. I wouldn't take anybody's keys to anybody else's house. There's a liability involved with that. They own it. If anybody was on that road, they could tell it was an absolute miracle that no one was injured and that any cars weren't injured because it was very chaotic. And as residents of Prado, I live on Prado, the part that people go to get to the gate. I'm about 12 houses off of it. And quite frankly, we don't want that. That day, there was a rooms to go truck. There were at least 5 or 6 cars on the street. That is typical of Prado on any given day in any given neighborhood. And it was a navigation nightmare. That rooms to go truck actually did go down that gate, which is a big box truck, which is very difficult. There was really nothing. Gateway did their best. And I was really feel bad for the guy from Gateway that was like Frogger that practically got hit 100 times, that poor guy. They tried their best, but there needs to be some procedures and policies in place. And if anybody else in the community seems to think that it's a good idea to have a second entrance to this place, I would recommend that they put it in their neighborhood because it's not going in mine.
Thank you, Suzanne.
That's it for public comment.
All right, thank you. Okay, we've got approval of the minutes. Can I have a motion to approve these in mass?
Make a motion to approve the minutes of July 24th and August 14th.
Okay, made by Ed, seconded by Alan. Any discussion on any of these?
I have a question. I guess Sherry Schiller made some comments that was inaudible. Was that with the old microphone system? Have we corrected that?
Where's that? Which minutes? I got 2 sets.
In the safety and security,
August, Marty?
the safety and security.
Safety and security? They don't use our system. That's over in Pelican.
Was it here?
I don't know, I'm looking now.
Is that the one that was here?
All right, never mind, I guess.
But do the new mics seem to be working pretty good?
Oh, wonderfully, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't even have to, like, I can be way back here and it's the same as if I'm right here. They pick up
You
their.
can almost understand Tony.
Yes. And these
Almost,
are
almost.
inspired by Tony because he likes to put his up in the air and lean way back and we can still hear him now. So, yes.
Pelican Preserve Advisory Committee meeting minutes of August 14th, 2025. So that's this room.
Yeah.
In the public comment, Sherry Schiller, comments were inaudible.
Okay, we'll have to go back and listen. It could be that there was some other noise that was interfering with it, but there shouldn't have been because we had a meeting in here the week before and the week after and everything
Was
was
this with the new
fine, so.
equipment now?
This stuff's been in here since June. We did have some issues with it, but I think that was back in July. So I'll check.
Do you feel it's substantial enough that we'd want to wait for approval?
No, but I'm just questioning, we've got this new equipment to correct this condition.
We had some issues with it when it was initially installed. We've worked through that. It's been functioning fine for the last month and a half now, so for sure. It may have been longer.
That's my only comment.
Thank you. Okay, we've got a motion and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Patricia, did you hear that?
I muted her.
Oh.
She was making a lot of noise, so I muted her.
Oh, sorry, Patricia.
There's a lot of background noise. So Patricia, you'll have to unmute yourself if you want to talk. I muted you.
Okay. We'll move on to the financial report then, 6A. Not
Don't
quite the
have the
year end.
September stuff yet, so. Because with it being year end, it's going through some extra, more, not that we don't look at them closely, but we're like waiting until the very last minute to get as much stuff pumped in there as we can, so it's taking a little bit longer. There still will be adjustments to it, but most of the big stuff should be in there. Well, we have to have everything in normally by the middle of November and have it all settled. So I would say I'm hoping by probably the 20th of this month, so not until after the next board meeting, but yeah, we should hopefully have something in there. So I'll be able to run them once they're set for the month. Once the format is approved and everything looks like it's kosher, I'll be able to run them again once I'm pretty sure we got most of the stuff in there, and then we'll run them again after we make all the auditor adjustments. But this is where we stand as of the end of August.
Okay.
I know you guys have a really big adjustment coming to your budget because you paid off the bond. So there's the move that we actually have to formally make at the end of the year.
Okay.
But I didn't see anything with the proposed budget amendment was your bonds. So.
Okay.
And that'll be going to the board the first meeting in November. So the budget amendment for 25.
All right. Any comments on where we're sitting right now? No substantial changes from the last time, so.
No. We started issuing the POs for your road work. I've been cranking out stuff for all your stuff for the new fiscal year. So those are getting moving. Some sign stuff, some striping stuff, some road stuff, some engineering stuff, the gate stuff. So that's all.
Everything we were holding back on.
Yep, we've been busy.
Okay, good enough. So no questions on this?
Just asking Ed if this looks right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's, the only thing on mine that I would have had was that so far as of the end of August, we'd had 163,000 in interest earned. And if everybody spent all their budget, which a couple of them are going to come in under, we would have about 550,000 in our fund surplus and a little over 800,000 if the admin building wasn't in there. So we're sitting in good shape for next year.
And I'll put that information when I do the stuff for September, because you'll be able to see what the projected carry forward is.
Yeah, so you'll encumber the building or?
Yeah,
Okay.
because that's in your budget. So yeah,
For this year.
for
next year.
26.
Right,
Yeah,
when we're
yeah.
in
It
right
won't show in the
now.
September financials, but it'll show in the October ones.
So it'll be interesting to see the end of September's even unaudited to see how much the subcommittees may have.
Yeah.
in their
I'm
surpluses.
hoping I'll have them soon, because it's almost the end of the day. We got to get it published for the board meeting next week. So I haven't seen them yet.
All right. Any other questions?
Just
on-
notice that Doug is doing a phenomenal job spending his budget.
We are so proud of you.
There's $200,000 that we never put in there. You know that, Ed.
I know. Just pulling your chain.
This guy next to me was just pulling my chain. I always read on.
Okay.
Doug's getting stuff done.
Yeah. All right. So if there's nothing else, let's move on to 7. Safety and security updates and the ponds update, so. And safety and security, was there any comments on that? I don't know if we have anybody here to, well, we've got,
Just for,
Cece.
oh,
that's
It goes to
usually Jen.
Jennifer. Yeah, she sends that in.
Yeah.
The chairs are supposed to supply an update each month for the meeting.
so everybody's, most of it is there, but there's going to be some big projects. You know, we're meeting next week. I need to find out where it's at with Florida Power and Light to start understanding their schedule. To do the streetlight replacements on the boulevards. And then we're going to be resurfacing from tree line to the four-way stop after Easter. And then they're also looking at a project to restripe all the crosswalks and stop bars and center lines throughout the whole community. So there's going to be a lot of work on the roadways next year, but most of if you look in some of the back neighborhoods and that, the crosswalks, the stop bars and that are all very faded and they haven't been done for years. And
How does the schedule align with the repaving program?
we want to know which one we're going to go so you can buy stock in them, right?
You know, it's like, why are we gonna paint these stripes when we're gonna pave over?
Well, that's where we have to do the coordination because we wouldn't want to do anything other than white paint on the ones that we're going to have to paint or mill and grind on.
And there's not really we're looking at some neighborhood side streets in the next couple of years, so there really won't be any major hard repaving, you know, for the next handful of years anyway.
Laura, can you put that up a little bit so we can see the bottom of it? Thank you.
And then, as it states, we're replacing the gate arms at the front. And then we've been approved for 2 additional speed monitoring devices out of your current budget, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're moving and shaking in safety and security.
I issued the POs for that.
Oh, you did, thank
Yep,
you.
I issued the PO for the 2 additional devices. We tried to get them to reduce the cost of the software thing because you guys pay $2,000, but you get a $500 discount for each of the units. And they said, no, the first year you have to pay the full thing, like, but we already have 2. So we tried to save you another $1,000, but they said
We
no.
appreciate your
They
efforts.
said no.
Yeah,
So
but the second year on, we'll get a
we'll get
discount.
the discount, yeah,
Okay.
just the first year you pay the full. And just so you know, I got, actually just shortly before I came in here, Annabelle emailed me, apparently there's some confusion about what's going on at the front gate. I mean, you guys understand what's going on, but there's stuff flying around that we're redoing the hardware or the software, and people are worried that their barcode scanners aren't gonna work. I'm like, no, you're just getting new gates. We're just replacing the hardware, nothing to do with the software, everything will work fine. I told her, I said, they don't make anything for the gates that you have there right now, so safety and security put in their budget for this year to replace the arms with updated hardware. So we're not changing anything else. We did the cameras, we're doing the gates and nothing more. So that's flying around your community, just so you're
Yeah,
aware.
we discussed it a bit at the president's, the neighborhood
Yeah,
council.
she reached out to me just maybe 15 minutes before I came in here, so.
Well, we're all on the same page then. Okay, any other questions on safety and security? I'll give a quick update for landscaping. Well, John, you've been in,
I just talked with
Okay.
Mark. He said the landscape, I'm just going to read what he wrote to me because we didn't meet. We just
Right,
been
he's up north
communicating
still.
through email. Landscaping subcommittee did several projects in the late spring to take advantage of the summer rain. Most have done well, but we have followed up with Ameriscape to discuss areas that didn't while they're under warranty. Many subcommittee members are absent over the summer, so our next meeting will be in October. I think it's the 23rd. I'll be at that one. We have planted many of the areas that were, in our opinion, lacking, but there are areas such as some of the median plantings that we are watching closely. We lost several large palms at the 4-way stop due to lightning. This is an ongoing problem, and a different option than keep replacing them may be necessary. There's discussion among some people about major monument work at the front entrance, but it's extremely preliminary at this time. I was asking him for a long-term plan that he have anything in the next 2 to 5 years that he saw was going to be a major replacement initiative, and he really hadn't really thought that far out yet.
Yeah.
So
he
we'll
did a
talk
lot
with
in the
him
last
October.
couple of years, so I'm assuming he's probably pretty caught up. Okay. Mr. Zancher, would you like to come up and talk ponds to us? And by the way, if you guys can't tell, I have bronchitis. I'm not contagious. I'm just croaky.
Doug Zanner, Chairman of the Ponds Group Subcommittee. I have a few things. I'll quickly go through them. Our new contractor for all maintenance for the ponds, the aeration, and the conservation area started on 10/1, Superior Water Management. They were doing just half of the ponds and aeration. Now they're doing everything. So we're pretty pleased with what they did in the past, and we've had a meeting and basically tell them all our eggs in your basket. So they realize we're really watching. Pond 43, that restoration will be done this dry season. There's a task authorization that the ponds subcommittee already approved at our last meeting. I think it's on the agenda for you guys today. But that one is the biggest one. It's about 3 times the size of the 2 we did this year. And that's when we're splitting expenses over 2 years. And it's so that's a formal bid. And there isn't the, that point system we had before. That you don't have a point system on when it's contract work. Yeah, it was on maintenance before, and we could have a point system. So we got to work through that, to make sure the bid process can weed out maybe people that aren't, there might be a low bid, but they don't have the specs to be able to do it. So Jim Latham again will lead that effort. The boardwalk trimming, we've requested an estimate around the the cart path around the boardwalk plus through the middle of the boardwalk to trim that. We'll have an ongoing thing. Once a year, we'll trim that. Hopefully, we'll do it before people come back, sometime in that time frame. But that's there. A couple of things are quick. We removed a few trees. People were worried about the hurricane and conservation area behind Prado, 4 of them. By the way, this year, all that stuff will be about double the cost per tree because the state changed the regulations that says you have to haul out the tree. Before it was you just cut it down, let it drop, walk away. Now you got to haul it out because of fire. They're worried about fire.
Is that the one by the lift station in Prado?
Yeah, she knows exactly.
Is that the ones that aren't really in the preserve, but are in the, yeah, okay.
Yes, they're the ones you and I talked about there in wetlands area, which looks one way on the map, and when you're really there, it's different.
Somebody took care of it.
Yep.
Was it?
Yeah. Restoration, we have a contract and a PO issued to restore CA08 on one part there right around the pump station that had a violation of the conservation that we have to restore. We got in place a PO to do that work. And then the backflow flow valve for the 2 fountains out front, it is affecting the one right now. The right one isn't working, and that was fixed about early this week. But I think they still have the valve turned off, but that's all I have unless there's a question. Marty, I think about you when we trim the path around the outside with your bike riding through there and those trees. Maybe we need to do it a little more frequent for you.
Only you could do something about the people walking on the path with earbuds that don't hear me coming.
Doug, I ride that on my cart all the time, and to me, it doesn't need to be trimmed.
I know.
I know. It was trimmed back so much last year.
I think every time they've done it, they've done a good job.
It's just.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like the mirrors too.
Yeah. All right.
And then just one other thing, we did turn off the Passarella, the RSE ticketing system within the Passarella system. So now everything goes see-click fix.
And like we talked about at our last meeting, if we do have an issue, email still works.
Customer care, gatewaydistrict.org.
Well, no matter what, we can send the contractor an email. If all else fails, it isn't earth stopping.
So all the backflow preventers have been replaced, right?
There was one out there, I think a mower hit it because the pipe underground, a foot down, was cracked. And it was the wrong direction. So I think someone hit it. And if I had to wager, it was probably a Meriscape when they were cutting the grass. And they're the ones that reported the leak.
Right, because they hit it.
But it's fixed.
Okay.
Marty, you put some spooks with baseball cards when you were a kid. Then they'll hear you with your earbuds.
One other thing that was brought up at the President's Council meeting this morning was that when people were trying to input for support in see-click fix, that it was going to the city of Fort Myers. I'm trying to think of what the scenario.
It didn't have an option for selecting gateway.
To send it to Gateway.
Yeah.
That was, the problem was
Deborah, could you come up here and explain?
Yeah, you can go to the.
Sorry, I'm also the co-chair of the President's Council. So the issue is when I used it, you had a choice between Fort Myers and between Gateway, who you were reporting it to.
Okay, because it depends on where you live.
I guess because the other people were saying that they didn't get a choice and they could only use Fort Myers. And there were at least 2 other people who said that. It wasn't just one person.
All right, I'm sending a note over right now.
Yeah, and I said it's probably some glitchy little thing in the system, but if you can take a look at it, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah, Laura, one of them was David Hamilton that brought that.
Oh, yeah, you could reach out to Dave.
Someone to go talk to.
Do you know the specifics or?
Don't know about that.
Yeah, I'm looking at my notes.
Oh, okay, Cece took minutes this morning, so.
I can tell you what happened to him. He put it in on C-Click Fix. He
Going,
got a response email from the city of Fort Myers. It's like, what? Not right.
okay.
Okay.
All right,
Apparently they're using it too. I didn't know that.
okay. Anything else for Doug on the ponds? Moving along then. 8A, and I have to take responsibility for this one. When John was last absent, he had called me to say he was going to be out of town and asked if there was any reason why he should have to call in. And I said, I didn't think there was anything on the agenda that was really crucial, so I didn't see why he should break his vacation. Not thinking about the
It's not like you're getting kicked off. It's just up to you guys to discuss it.
So I just wanted-
It's just, it
Well,
automatically
I have
happens to
my-
everybody,
I have my
so.
own reasons too. In April, my mom passed away. And so I was with her for the hospice portion, and then her funeral was up in Chicago, and I was unable to be here for that. And then my wife and I, after spending 2024 here in the summer, we said, we probably don't want to spend our summers in Florida anymore. So we bought an RV, and we spent most of this summer traveling the United States, some of that with our grandkids. And that was
Okay,
why I missed,
Starlink, yeah.
that's why I missed the meetings in the summertime. But I anticipate doing that again in 2025. So I'm absolutely willing to vacate my seat and step down at the end of the term, which would be probably around March, I think is when my 2 years would be up.
April, yeah.
March, April. So at that point, I'll probably not seek to keep the seat because I won't be here for the summers. And if that's a problem, then I'm.
It's not a problem
If you
for,
really want to keep on with us.
Yeah.
Because like our company, just call in when
Yeah.
you're on the road.
I can't do that.
It's
I'm
not
willing
an-
to do that. I have the means to do that.
it's not an automatic removal from the, it's just the way that the parameters were set up when the committees were established, that's the parameters that was included, that if it's 4 times within a calendar year. So it's not saying you're done, get out of here. It's just bringing up for discussion. If you guys are okay with it and you want to keep them on, it's absolutely up to you. It's your committee. You can decide what you want to do. We're not saying that you're kicked off. We're not saying you
Okay.
have to kick them off. We just, Georgia does attendance, and we do this for everybody. It's just, we're bringing it to your attention that when this was established, that's the rules, that if you miss 4, we got to talk about it. So we're talking
Make a
about it.
motion to keep Mr. Barry on the committee.
Okay,
Okay, Marty made the motion. Well, I don't know if we need a formal motion, do we?
that's fine. Make it vote. It makes it all formal.
Okay, Marty made the motion. We had a second from Ed. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Was hoping.
All right. Well,
Hoping to
You were-
get.
I didn't,
My car's running.
I just want to make it clear that if for some reason you don't feel like you can fulfill I'm not saying you have to step down, but you don't have to wait for your term to come up. If something comes up and you know that you're not going to be able to be here and you want to step down early, you absolutely can do that. There's nothing saying when you sign up that you have to stay on for the full 2 years. Life happens. We all know that life happens. So
Got it.
just letting you
Forced
know.
to stay on.
oh, well, that's called bribery, and we're not going to talk about that with the mics on. Okay, let's move on to item 8B, Ppac members.
Some guy
select-
named Ed wants to be on your committee.
Uh,
Eh.
Do we really have to talk about this?
You made John uncomfortable. You should at least make Ed uncomfortable too. Come on.
I'll make a motion to keep Ed Hedges on the board.
And I will second it. So motion by Marty, second by Peggy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All it's not.
Thank you, Patricia. Okay. Ed is I don't think you can.
He's not even voting for himself to be on the committee anymore. All right, and this comes up every year in the fall, the next item. It has nothing to do with when anybody's terms or anything go up, just every year. We do this in the fall, so vote on your chair and vice chair.
I make a motion, they stay the same. They've been doing a great job.
I agree.
Second.
I agree.
Okay, motion by Alan, second by Marty. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Well, thank you. Ed and I both
Thank you for all you do.
Ed's going, darn. It's really open.
My
Dang
wife
it.
is going, darn.
We'll bribe her too. Okay, so let's move on to 8D, Tetra Tech task authorization. This is for the Pond 43 that Doug was talking about. And this is purely to have the general design work done by Tetra Tech, right?
Yes.
Yeah. For a sum total of, what,
for-
57 was it?
18,000.
Oh, 18,000, we're
Yeah.
at 57, I don't know.
No, it's not much.
Marty will make the motion to approve the Tetra Tech proposal as written on item 8 Delta.
I second, John.
Okay, made by Marty, seconded by John. Any more discussion on this? Moving it along. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All in favor?
Great.
Okay, now we're going to move on to 8E as in Edgar, proposal for the broker of the monument properties. When last we talked about this last meeting, we had a few questions that we wanted to come back to about is there a penalty fee if we sign, then we change our mind? Let's just say they come back in and it turns out to be something from Lamar. Can we change our mind in selling? And the answer is there's no penalty. We could back out. And can we set a minimum value or refuse an offer without penalty? And the answer is yes. And then the money from the sale would go into the 002 fund for Pelican Preserve's use on any asset owned by the CDD.
And that did get brought up during the last board meeting and they concurred. I mean, they could change their mind, but they all understand that you guys have been paying for it. That's where it came out of. It was your bonds. It was all, so that's where it would go.
Okay. So just as a little bit more discussion, I've been talking to several of the groups that are around the community, and there still is a feeling within, I believe it's people who are more of the original, I'm going to call them the OGs, the people who were here at the beginning, that the monuments on Treeline and Colonial, that was how you knew you were getting to Pelican Preserve, because Treeline did not go all the way through. And while they recognize that, it's probably not as useful now as it was then, there's a lot of, I'm going to say, sentimentality that goes along with it, that they think it's cool to have that kind of a visual.
Well, and that is the actual entrance into the Pelican development, because the commercial part of the commercial development, they are part of the Pelican development. And our gates on Pelican Boulevard are just the entrance into the residential portion of the Pelican development. Everybody says, well, it's not part of Pelican anymore because Treeline goes through and that. Well, it still is. And just my own personal opinion, we've only been here 3 years, so it's not just the old timers that was a big draw to us coming in here. And I guess the only way I really would support selling them is if we took that money and used it to really enhance the residential entrances on Pelican Boulevard, both north and south entrances. Because ours are probably some of the least attractive entrances along Treeline.
I agree.
And so, but if we can get $2.5 million for them, that would go a long way to improving the monuments. So
Other
Whether or not we
discussion?
can get it,
I'm not sure there's access into it and other issues, but it'd be interesting to see.
I look at it a little bit different. There's a cost of maintaining those things every year. And if we can get the money, and like I say, if we know where we're going to spend it, which did enhance the front entrance here, my vote would be to sell them. But that's just the way I feel. There's no reason to go ahead and continue to maintain these things every year just for remembering how to get to Pelican Preserve.
I need all the hints I
Mute
can
you
get.
again.
Yeah.
She's
Patricia, do you have a thought on this?
Yes, I do. I wanted to add that I don't know. I know we have no penalty if we want to withdraw, but I'm not sure exactly what that means. Does that mean we can decline them selling it to a certain party? Can we have any control over who buys this area?
Yes. That's exactly what
Okay.
that means.
Okay, so that's what that means. So if we come to the point where we really find it garish and not appropriate, it still could be something we decline. And I like the idea that we can set a minimum value. And I like the idea that money would go to other purposes from the 002 fund. So it's nice to have, but I'm not sure if people knew we were sitting on a piece of property worth $2 million, which really could be used more effectively, that I think I would vote we go ahead with the sale of it.
One thing I do want to point out, on the Winn-Dixie side, I think we talked about this last time, the Winn-Dixie side, there is provisions in that rest of that property for access to that parcel. On the Walgreens side, there is not. So right now, there is no way, there's no easement or anything for access to that parcel on the Walgreens side. But on the Winn-Dixie side, they planned ahead, and it's actually an easement in the parking lot that wraps around and actually goes to that parcel. So there is an easement to get to it, where that may be something that they have to figure out on the other side.
But there's drainage easements and lots of other issues that
Well, and I think
they
it,
got the.
Patricia, I'm gonna mute you. You got a lot of
For the buyer
background
to
noise.
Figure that out.
worry about, not
Do their own
us.
due diligence.
So do both parcels have to be sold together, or can they be sold separately? One sells, one doesn't sell.
I guess that would be up to you if we're gonna list them together or separately. We hadn't actually talked about that. My understanding is they were being listed together.
Today, it's one parcel in the records. It's just split, but they are two separate isolated tracts. I'm really surprised that they have it listed as one parcel, that when it was done, it wasn't two separate parcels, but it's technically one parcel, but it's real easy to do a split and sell off just one of them. But whether or not you'd want to sell one,
Right.
yeah, I don't think we'd get the value from it. Yeah.
those are parts of the things that could be considered when you get an offer, just like when somebody makes an offer on a house. You don't necessarily have to accept it, even if they offer you your asking price, so.
Alan, what's your thoughts?
Pardon me?
Well, what are you thinking on all this?
Well, it's kind of like I said, I think there's probably a way to get an easement to that other piece of property on the Walmart side of things, or
Walgreens.
Walgreens side of things. I don't know why we would, truthfully, I don't know why we would keep them if in fact we had a good offer.
Yeah.
That money can be better spent elsewhere, and I just don't think that it's for sentiment reasons that we ought to keep them.
Yeah. Well, and our role on this committee is to serve somewhat as a fiduciary for our community. And if we have an asset that's worth that much and could do the value someplace else versus raising rates, I would always go for that. And we could put them for sale and they'll never sell.
Possibly.
So,
The other thought would be, just separate them out and leave one of them for a while and see if we can get a good price for just half of it. And so leave one for a Pelican Preserve monument. But I think 2 is excessive, and I think we really should consider this. But whether we go with this particular firm or not, we probably need to consider other, real estate agents? What's everyone thinking on that?
5% really isn't, I mean, that's pretty standard for a broker. Tony is doing some final due diligence on some of the stuff, but as of right now, I don't believe there's been any red flags or they would be included in this report. But 5%, I mean, 5 or 6 is what you would pay to sell your house too, so.
and this was offered out to several, correct?
Yes, we only have one that bit.
And one that said they would come back and list
Oh,
it.
okay.
So.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is Marty. I'd like to make a motion to recommend to the Board of Supervisors, item 8, Echo, for the property for sale, selling both properties together.
I second.
Well, would you like to modify that to put a minimum in, or should we do that at this point?
Let's see what we could get, but I would say just make it subject to basically
Approval.
the offer to come back to us for us to make the decision. So, somebody's got to make the yes or no that you're going to accept the offer. So that
Well,
should be
in
this
the end,
group.
it's going to be the Board of Supervisors,
Right, because it's a district asset.
but we'll have to, well, they would prefer we
You
make
would
a,
weigh in heavily, yeah.
yeah.
But do we want to restrict ourselves to say they both have to be sold together?
No.
That's my concern.
Well,
I'd leave it wide open and see
So
what they're
Somebody, I
willing
mean,
to
it'll be
offer out there.
listed as two parcels because it is one piece of property right now. But it's possible you may get an offer from somebody to say, hey, I'll buy
Yeah.
this side, but not this side. And that would be something you have
I
to,
think we want that
consider at that
flexibility. That's
time.
my idea.
so then we need a modification of the motion unless you want to keep your motion as is and have us vote on that.
I'll keep my motion as is.
Okay, so Marty has a motion to list the properties for sale and to sell both properties as one parcel. Do we have a second? Hearing no second, we'll let that motion die. Do we have another motion?
I'll make a motion that we recommend to the board that we'd like to sell both properties. Can be sold separately if we got the right offer.
Do we have a second?
Second that.
Okay, motion by Alan, second by Ed. Any more discussion on this?
would we use the broker that's being listed here?
Correct.
Okay.
I would
Oh, yeah,
also,
Right,
yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
And who would be
and
who would the contact person be for that broker? Would it be,
It's Chelsea. As
Chelsea.
district manager,
Okay,
it's
district,
Chelsea.
okay.
Yeah.
okay.
She'll keep us in the loop.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Patricia, I'm sorry. I didn't hear
That's all right.
everything.
No, that's okay. I just wonder, I mean, when somebody buys it, are we really going to be able to stipulate what they can do with that property? Once it's sold, they can pretty much do what they want, correct?
Yeah, correct.
You
Yeah.
can control who buys it. You can't control what happens with it once it's sold.
Right. So if Lamar Signs buys it, we could say no because we would know what they would use it for. If, Starbucks buys it, then,
Yeah, I think Chelsea reached out to Lamar and they had no interest in that property at all.
doesn't mean one of the other ones wouldn't, but yeah, that would be something we would look at very strongly. Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second. Any more discussion? Call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Okay, we've got 5 of us that are,
I had one Marty. Got it.
Marty is holding up his end of the bargain. We like it. Okay, moving on then. We have 8F, which is volunteers for designing a new entryway. We had asked that this be tabled the last time around. And as we've been talking at that meeting, the bigger questions were, who's going to do the design? And what involvement should we have from the community at large as volunteers? So do we have anybody who wants to give an update on that?
It was supposed to be Tom and he's not here.
I know.
Well,
This is not anything that's going to happen in the next year. I'll just tell you this.
no,
Look what we got for Gateway, broccoli.
We're going to get through one meeting where he doesn't bring up the broccoli. I just know it.
my thoughts would be to have staff reach out and do some sort of kind of procurement or solicitation of some qualifications of some sort of landscape architectural firms, and see if we can't find 2 or 3 people that we could then evaluate.
So your movement is to follow the staff recommendation?
Well, it's 3 options: hire a company, but I guess I'd like us to be able to review the candidate companies.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. The recommendation would be for
Yeah.
you to hire it. Our recommendation is for you to, well, I mean, we would look for them, but you would hire somebody
Right.
to do it. That was staff's recommendation.
And my thought at this point is this a little premature? I mean, if we're not going to be doing anything until the 27 at earliest.
It might take a while to find somebody that you're gonna like, and it's gonna take a while for plans to get drawn up, and you're gonna want the plans before you go into budgeting for next year, so you know what kind of dollars you're gonna want to spend. So I
Fair
would
point,
say no.
fair point.
It's not really premature, especially with you only meeting once a month. It'll delay things a little bit for getting it, having it go through, so.
Good
mean,
clarification.
yeah.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the staff recommendation as stated.
I second.
Okay, motion by Marty, second by John. Any more discussion? All the vote? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, unanimous approval of that. And now we're getting on to Patricia's communication report. Take it away. Patricia?
She muted herself after she talked.
Oh,
You're on, Patricia. You're muted. I heard her vote and now she's muted.
There you go.
There you go.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to share with you the steps taken to put out the first of this traffic study report. And then following that, we had what I consider a really nice return of emails back to us about this problem that we have with people speeding. And in these emails, which I also shared with you, were some interesting ideas that people had. People thought we could maybe do this or that would also help the cause. A couple of questions to you all. I'm going to ask the Safety and Security Subcommittee to review these at their next meeting and provide answers to them so that it's possible we could do another follow-up bulletin which says we had great response to this, people had some interesting suggestions, and here's what the committee has decided or knows about why some of these ideas won't work. So anyway, that's a thought for a future bulletin. And then I also wanted to share with you a bulletin that I've worked up with Doug Zanter and his group, just to remind people that we do have this company coming through and helping maintain the ponds. And it also gives us a chance to honor the work that that committee did, which I thought was exceptional, coming up with a vote by a way to vote in the right company. Anyway, and so I wanted to show you that I would like to propose that we put out that particular bulletin as our next one going out. So any comments would be appreciated.
I thought it was very good. I was happy with it.
I thought during Rich Glover's presentation on his data that he collected from the speed monitoring that we didn't have a speeding problem because it was only indicated 3% of the cars were speeding.
I think that was a conflating of the data, how he was initially thinking of it. So it wasn't just 3% of the cars. It was more than that. It was, well, what was the actual number then?
Well, it
Those
was
were the ones
50.
excessive
50
speeding.
Yeah, so, it depends on what you define as speeding. If you go 1 mile over the speed limit, is that speeding? Or if you go 10 miles over the speed limit, is that speeding? Well, I happen to know that in Germany and other countries, if you go 1 mile over the speed limit, they're going to ticket you. So, and that was something that Tom Shaner brought up at the last meeting. So we did go back and decide, no, let's just show the full number, how many people exceeded the speed limit. So the numbers are there. So it is what it is. The follow-up email I thought might be an interesting idea to let people know we're considering what they also suggested. It's always nice to follow up with members that really do reach out and take the time to give us their suggestions. So, and then also wanted you to know that that's last bulletin is ready to go, but I'm thinking, Peggy, instead of quoting you in that one, perhaps we should quote somebody like Jim Lathan or somebody from the committee.
That's perfect.
Yeah. And I just was curious, I know we all have responsibilities to oversee some of these subcommittees, and is it Marty or Ed that is the primary person for the Ponds Committee?
It's me.
Oh, it is you. Oh, well,
Yeah.
that's why I put you down then for it.
I'm perfectly happy with Jim taking the spotlight on this one. I got a lot of shit for the last one. Excuse my language.
You did? Which one? On the,
It was all in good fun, about the limiting our increase. So,
okay.
the only thing that I wanted to also point out is we will need to be pretty quickly getting on a communication for the timing of all the road activity and the lights and everything, that whole, how that workflow is going to work.
Yeah,
So,
I have that down as the next one to
perfect.
do, but I know there's going to be some iteration on that at the next meeting. So I'm ready to go on that one as soon as possible. Sure. They say they want to get started in the dry season, but I don't know exactly what that meant. Which part of the dry season? Is it going to be first quarter?
It should be first quarter.
Yeah, probably
Okay.
right after the first of the year.
Yeah, they were talking, yeah, that's what I heard originally.
Yeah, so we should be looking to get that out before Christmas.
Before Christmas, okay.
You think?
Or
November?
I'd wait till after the first of the year because people might ignore a lot of the stuff around
true.
Christmas and the holidays. So let them get through that, and
Okay.
Okay,
hopefully
I got it down. Yeah.
until we know what the FPL schedule is,
Yeah.
it may, that should still give them a month notice at least. So I just know during the holidays, things get overlooked and set aside. So
Yeah. Fair. Okay. Anything else, Patricia, that you wanted to bring to our attention?
Well, the other thing I think I shared with you is some new language that I would recommend we put into the newsletter, the Pelican Preserve newsletter. So I also attached that just to kind of vary it up a little bit, not just talk about the click fix, but have this information about, again, who is Gateway and why are they in charge? So I hope you will look at that. That has been approved by the Board of Supervisors, the two Board of Supervisors on, from Pelican. So I'm ready to go with that one.
We also have been invited to do the January Shooters Club. I think is it the 11th or 13th or something like that?
It's gonna be her typing.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
It's very loud.
Yeah. And so the chairs of each of the subcommittees and myself or somebody, if they want to volunteer, we're going to do that presentation to talk about the whole structure of how we govern the assets. So
I thought we had done that not too long.
we did that. I think they wanted to do it
We have a
again.
flyer and refrigerator magnets.
So, yeah,
I think Ed did that, didn't you, Ed? Didn't you meet with him?
Ed and
Okay, so I'd like to be involved with putting together that communication as well. So who do I work with on that?
you would work with the three subcommittee chairs, and I don't know if Randy's going to have anything to do with this. I didn't think so. Was Randy?
he put together the
He
draft.
just puts
of the
together
last
whatever
one.
you guys give
Oh,
him.
okay.
Yeah. He just makes it look pretty. He doesn't supply the content.
Okay, so yeah, we'd have to supply the content for
Tweaked
it.
it a little bit.
So Patricia, then I would work with the three subcommittee chairs, which would be Doug, Mark, and Jennifer. And then John Pankow is our contact with the Shooters Club, which they need a different name. It just sounds bad.
I agree. I'll ask them to change, to change their name.
Yeah, we'll have lots of sway there, I'm sure. Anyway,
Thank
so
you.
that's in January that would be coming up. So we have had several opportunities to get the structure out there and how it's comprised. And I mean, I think we're making slow inroads.
Tricia, this is Alan. If you're going to be doing more bulletins regarding the speeding situation, I agree with Tom Shaner. I think when it first came out, when they said there was only like 2%, I guess I'm not exactly sure of how it was being calculated that in that fashion, and I agree with him. I mean, just 1 mile an hour doesn't necessarily mean that you're a bad person, but it does mean that you're over the speed limit. And I think the way Doug was doing it, or Rich, I should say, the way Rich was doing it was that he was giving them 5 mile an hour. And so anything over 35, he counted as speeding. Well, I used to be a state trooper. And when the speed limit was 70, you know, I mean, that was discretionary. I never wrote anybody a ticket over probably 80 mile an hour. I mean, under 80 mile an hour, but that's discretionary. So what I'm saying is there's a speed limit. And so you got to go by that versus giving them 5 mile an hour and then say anything over that. So if you're reading, or if you're writing any more of these in the future here, please call and we can talk about it.
She can't.
That's true. We'll have to talk about it here in the meetings.
Or you could break it out into bits like 1 to 5, 6 to 10, you know, you could break it
You
out
could
that
put the
way
data
too.
out, which is basically what you ended up doing last time.
Yeah.
We did. We did it last time. We broke it down by those categories. So yeah.
Yes, certain people read a lot into that language that wasn't in the language.
Yeah, I agree.
And,
That would never happen.
oh,
Okay. All done with the communications review? Patricia, you're good?
Yeah, thank you very much, everybody.
keep up the good work.
Yeah, we're going to have this as a standard item on our agenda now? Okay. All right. Mr. Mantenfeld, Bridge Inspection Program.
So we identified that we wanted to paint the bridges. Now, all the bridges are structurally sound, so there's nothing structurally that needs to be done. However, I identified to safety and security that the Pelican Preserve Bridge has a number of deficiencies that you want to correct before you paint the bridge. And I've included the 3 inspection reports. And Laura, if you can go to the Arch Bridge, page 3 of 13, the inspection report. It identifies the wing wall footings are exposed to 32 inches high intermittently. The coatings on the southwest wing wall at the water line is falling up to 4 feet. There are loose bridge rails and beams at the following locations: the west rail and at post 5 and 6 and 7. So those are things we want to get corrected before we do that. So Paul has been directed to look for a contractor to do that. I've come up with a Pelican Preserve project plan that I've handwritten here, and I'll give it to Laura after the meeting, that for 2025, we should identify the vendors to repair and paint the bridges. After we paint the bridges in 2026, we should do the arch repairs, paint the arch bridge, contact the vendor to see what we should do with the other 2 bridges. I don't think they need to be repaired, but we should look at painting those, the Cypress Grove Bridge and the Pastora Bridge, at least down to the water line.
Cypress Grove going into Casella.
Going into Casella. So that bridge, the one that goes into Casella and Pelican Preserve Boulevard, is due again for inspection in March of 2027. Okay, the Pistoia Bridge because it is a shorter span, is not required to be inspected again until 2029.
What Safety and Security recommended was, in addition, was to have the arch bridge re-inspected to make sure that there weren't any, since it's over a year old, I think the inspection, to have it re-inspected to make sure that, and then to repair anything that needed to be repaired before it was painted.
Well, there are junction boxes that need to be replaced that are rotted through. There's electrical wiring that needs to be replaced. There's soffit that needs to be fixed.
So there definitely will be repairs.
There has to be repairs.
The subcommittee was recommending to get a fresh survey or inspection.
I don't know why you would want to repeat the inspection if it's due again in 2027. Why don't you just fix the things that are already identified and then paint it? That would be my recommendation. Also, the bridge lifespan, believe it or not, goes to 2065 would be the expected life of those bridges. I would recommend sometime for the 2027 budget that we start including a rainy day fund to put away money to replace the bridges.
Is that already in our?
That's what our reserves are for.
Have the reserve. Does the reserve study have bridges on it now?
I don't remember. I haven't looked at it in over a year.
Okay.
So
Well, when I first brought up the bridges to this
I would
this
assume they would have
committee,
been part of the roads. So
the response of the committee was, what bridges?
Yeah, true.
So I don't know if it's in our long-term plan.
So we'll have to make sure it's included in the reserve study.
I would have just assumed that they're part of the roads, that they would include that as part of the roads.
But re-inspecting them now, I think, would be a waste of money. I think we should do the repairs that are already identified in the previous inspection report, which was done in March of 2024. So use that, go with the repairs, paint the bridge, schedule the inspections for 2027. It's my recommendation.
I agree.
That's all I have.
Ed, you're liaison with that, so what's your thoughts?
The recommendation was to re-inspect. I mean, staff came and had a recommendation to put all the bridges on like a 2-year inspection cycle because some are 3 years and some are 4 years and they recommended a 2, or I think it was 2.
It's a 5-year and 3-year inspection.
Right. But I think they were recommending and do them all. And we were like, well, it doesn't make sense to do all of the, to break them up. If you break them up, then you're paying too much. You're paying the inspector to come out multiple times to generate multiple reports. So if you kind of keep them together, you can do that, and they're not, but they thought it was prudent, or some of the discussion was might be prudent to have it re-inspected just to make sure that nothing additional has occurred.
I think the thought was that there was another hurricane since.
That, and we don't know if any of those repairs had actually been made or not. We don't know what Daniel's people had really done, on any. I don't think any of them had been, but we don't know. But that way we could fix any and everything that may need to be fixed by having it inspected. I mean, it was, just do the 7 bridges was 27,000. So one bridge, it's going to be under 10 grand to re-inspect it, so. So this was I think this recommendation from the subcommittee was to contract with the inspector to re-inspect it and then have everything fixed.
And then that would kick the next.
So what it says here is that the Safety and Security Subcommittee recommended to inspect and address the Arch Bridge in fiscal 26, followed by inclusion of the remaining 6 bridges in the fiscal 27 budget.
I think we should go with what Marty said. He's got the specifics about when they have to be inspected. They're already approved or inspected by a certified inspector, structural engineer. So I follow that guy's schedule.
I'm very confused, so.
Okay,
I have no idea what's going on.
okay, what's going on is taking what the recommendation of the Safety and Security Subcommittee said without the, without the,
So just address the arch bridge, no
yeah, just
inspections.
address repairs based on the past, the 2024 inspection.
Okay, or whatever they happen to find when they get there to fix it.
Correct.
So your
Correct.
recommendation is to proceed with addressing the arch bridge in
So I'll
fiscal
make a motion.
26?
I'll make,
Hang on just a second. Patricia, did I hear you? No, I must not have. Okay.
so I'll make a motion to do the repairs to the arch bridge and then paint it, and then schedule the inspections for 2027 and 2029 based on the original inspection date of March of 2024.
So repair the arch bridge and paint it in fiscal 26, additional inspections, would you say in 2027 and 29?
Yeah.
Okay,
March-
All
March
bridges?
of each.
No, that's just the arch bridge.
just the arch bridge. What about the rest of the
I'll
bridges?
make another motion.
Well, I want
Let's
it
deal
all
with
in
this one.
I want it all in one. I don't want two separate motions. I want it all at once.
Okay,
Give me what
so
you got.
then the bridge going into Casella will have to be painted. I make include that in my motion that it needs to be painted. The one going into Pistoia needs to be painted down to the water line, and that can be completed in 2026. And then Casella be re-inspected in 2027, with Pistoia being re-inspected in 2029 on a 3-year and 5-year schedule based on their spans.
Did you
Could
read
you
the,
repeat that, please?
yeah, or can you read us back what you?
No, I can't because I missed half of it.
Okay, all right, let's say it again so we can capture everything.
I got Casella re-inspected in 27, Pistoia in 29.
Correct.
That was all I
And
got.
based on the previous inspections of March of 2024, that the repairs be made to the arch bridge,
I got the arch
and
bridge.
then it's
Yep, paint in FY 26 and
Painted
additional
in
inspections in
26.
27 and 29. I got that. I'm good with the arch bridge.
okay. And then the Casella Bridge can also get painted, and the Pistoia Bridge can get painted. The Casella Bridge be re-inspected in 2027 on a
Pistoia in
3-year
29.
basis,
Okay.
and Pistoia get re-inspected on a 5-year basis in 2029.
All right. Now I got you. All right. So I have repair the arch bridge and paint that in FY 26. Additional inspections of the arch bridge will occur in fiscal 27 and 29. Casella will be painted in fiscal 26, then re-inspected in 27 and every 3 years after that. Pistoia painted in FY 26, re-inspected in 29 and every 5 years after that.
Correct.
All right.
Okay, so we have a motion, which I think we got through. Do we have a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Marty, second by John. Discussion.
I got a real problem with we should leave some of this to the subcommittees. I have a real problem trying to dictate the program to the subcommittee. Let them evolve some of this. You know, there's been a lot of discussion about the bridges, painting them, how you take care of painting them. There's issues with the South Florida water management and what you can do over the flowway. Should those bridges even be the other bridges that are just culverts or whatever, the smaller ones, should they even be painted? Paul's been out there power washing them. I don't know what the results of that were. The question that was, should they be just power washed and not painted? Because if you start painting them, then you've got peeling and repetitive problems in the flowway. So there's a lot of issues that need to be considered that the subcommittee needs to address and deal with. And we shouldn't be dictating the program to the subcommittee. We should let them come up with the program. They thought it was prudent because the inspection was almost 2 years ago to have it re-inspected. If you want to say, fine, we'll just fix what it found, the deficiencies from 2 years ago, that's fine, but we shouldn't go beyond that and start dictating the rest of the program and what to do to all the bridges.
Agree.
And why did the subcommittee push it back onto Paul?
Because Paul is the one that needs to schedule the work to get it done.
Not the subcommittee, it's staff.
No, the subcommittee provides direction to Paul to get the stuff done. They made the request of what they would like staff to do.
I don't believe that, I'm trying to think if there was any direction to staff to do bridges.
What would be the cost for another inspection?
I would anticipate under 10,000.
Of just the one bridge. Yeah, it was 27 for all
The big
7 of
one,
them
though,
a
so-
year ago, so yeah.
So I guess my thought would be is that why spend that money when we can spend that money to do the repairs as Marty had suggested, and then carry on with the subcommittees with this new program that they feel should be completed.
I agree. I wouldn't want to take away any authority from the subcommittee, but I also wouldn't want to spend money to re-inspect something if the inspector already told you that you've got a 5-year span from 2024. So some of the bridges don't need to be inspected till 2029. So why would I inspect them in 26?
Okay.
So it's kind of a medium sort of a,
Yeah, I totally
Okay.
agree with what you said, though, Ed. I appreciate the subcommittees and all they're doing. It's,
At our chairman's request, I looked into this, and this is what my conclusion is.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
Cece?
Cece Haas. I also sit on the Safety and Security Committee, and I do informal notes of those meetings. They predate the minute emanation by usually about 6 to 8 weeks. They are in the SharePoint. I don't have access to them today, so I don't have every detail, but I believe that this was worked out with a little more detail, more in keeping with what Ed Hedges is describing from the meeting, but I don't have personal access at the moment for that. So I would, if I was being asked for an opinion, I'd say this should be held until either that, not that my data is verbatim, but it is a relatively accurate record of what transpired at our.
Do you want us to try to pull it up now?
Yep, so I'm working
If
on
you
it.
could.
You reading my mind? I'm already working
I
on
know.
it.
I hope I wrote it right.
I gotta share the link with the boardroom, so give me a second.
We'll let you know.
Sure.
Oh, you're emailing it so we can pull it up.
No, I have to email it, yeah, to the boardroom though. I don't think, it's not set up in here.
I sat in the meeting and I couldn't tell you for the life of me what the discussion was.
No, and I think the subcommittee, if Marty wants to present his schedule and plan for the future, I think they'd be more than willing to accept that and probably go with it, because he's kind of the bridge expert. I think their feeling was, before we go to the expense of painting it and stuff, we needed to make sure that all the repairs that needed to be done were done, and does a 2-year-old report give us that?
And my caveat is, of course, that what I wrote in these informal notes may not actually be a verbatim report. And that's why we do it. And it's always prefaced with, this is just
Informal. Yeah.
informal.
But if we want to just say, forego the inspection and go ahead with the repairs, I'm okay.
I'm not sure why we would spend that extra money if we already, repairs need to be made.
We know
Here
certainly,
we
we
go.
know what was identified 2 years ago.
Well, and
We
that's
don't
what
know.
we should repair.
Well, but then we're going to go ahead and then do other painting and other things, so.
Okay, and they do specific. Okay. So they very clearly said they wanted to hold off on the other bridges.
So I have my notes. If I could just have a minute, I can share some thoughts with you that I took.
Absolutely.
There were no safety issues. Flowaway bridges should be inspected every 3 years. Arch bridge every 2 years. And then Hedges wanted to, why don't we combine them? 27,000 in 2024. Paul said we could then go to one inspector. Two bridges over Casella and Pistoia, they have environmental impacts that anything into their flows into their waterway. According to the Florida Department of Transportation, every 3 years. So there's a lot of numbers thrown around at that meeting. And I think I would advise that we ask them to go through another iteration and come up with a plan at their next meeting.
Met with the vendor prior to him doing the inspections. And it depends on the length of the span. The arch bridge and the bridge going to Casella has a frequency of 3 years, according to the Florida Department of Transportation. The bridge going into Pistoia is shorter and has a 5-year requirement by the FDOT.
Well, how about if we do this?
You asked me to look into this.
I know,
did.
and I appreciate it.
What do we want to do?
Well, and that's why I'm thinking, what I would suggest is maybe, can you go back and get on the Safety and Security Subcommittee agenda for next month, or this month it would be, and talk through what your proposal would be, and we can table this for now?
I can do that.
Is that,
So you're questioning the recommendation from the Safety and Security Committee? They made a recommendation, and now you're going to go back to them and say, no, we don't like what you recommended. We think you should do this.
we want to go back and propose an alternative approach. And if they come back and they say, no, we believe that what we're doing is accurate, then.
Who's the liaison for the Safety and Security Committee? It's you, isn't it?
It is.
I guess there's been a lot of concern in the community about getting that arch bridge on Pelican Boulevard painted because it stands out kind of as a sore thumb. I guess I think we need to proceed with the repairs and painting of that arch bridge. So if we want to forego the inspection portion of their recommendation,
That was my motion.
I can live with that. And then ask Marty to take his plan for the other bridges and the repetitive program back to the Safety and Security to work out a formal program for the future years.
So you do have a motion and a second on the table right now.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to move forward with the,
Repairing the arch bridge and
And then-
painting it in 26, additional inspections of that in 27 and 29. Casella, paint it in 26, re-inspect in 27. Pistoia, paint in 26 and re-inspect in 29.
okay. All right, let's call the vote.
I didn't want to.
Yeah, she didn't want to. So we're calling the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so we've got 4 against and 2 for.
That fails.
Motion fails. I'd like to propose a second motion then, or an alternate motion, that we accept the staff recommendation to proceed with the fix on the arch bridge in 2026 without the inspection. And then we can have Marty partner with that group to develop a more full plan.
That would be outside the
Staff
motion.
recommendation.
Okay, so it's not the staff. Okay,
So accept the recommendation to, well, actually, your motion is to repair the arch bridge, accept the Safety and Security Committee's recommendation.
without the inspection.
To repair the arch bridge, okay.
There's a painting.
No. It just says inspect and address.
Address, and I would like to add paint.
So accept Safety and Security's recommendation to repair the arch bridge and paint it. in
Based on the
FY26.
March 2024 inspection.
I second it.
I have a concern with that, because if you do it based on the March 2024 inspection, what happens if they go and they find more things and you're going to say, no, you can only do what you found in 24?
So don't put that in the motion, is that what
Okay,
you're saying?
yes.
Okay. Strike
But
that.
they won't,
I'm assuming they're gonna look at it when they go there, so if they go there and they find, obviously the stuff from
Without the
24 is still gonna
formal
be
list.
there. Yes, and then if they,
Without-
because you're restricting them to
You're
what,
what
only
your
fixing
public
what they
work-
found back in 24, where now if there's more
more
stuff
stuff.
going on,
Yeah,
you're like, no, we
right.
didn't approve that, we only said what you said in 24.
Okay, so reword it, so, I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice for sure. Reword it so that it is, to skip the inspection, to do
Formal
any
inspection,
fixes that they deem necessary, and repaint the arch bridge. And then we'll leave it at that. That's my motion.
Second.
Okay, motion by Peggy, second by Ed. Any more discussion? Okay, call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay,
So, all right, and then you can just ask Marty to go back to the safety and
Yes,
security
and Mark-
committee.
yep, we got it.
Not as
Okay.
part of your motion.
I got
All right, I'm clear, I have clear directions, thank you.
Oh, thank God somebody does, yeah. All right. So this better be getting to the end because we're getting to the end of my voice.
We only got a couple things left.
We have the professional services agreement for the GIS services. And this is incorporating all three of the subcommittees. They've all passed that within their subcommittees. And they're asking for our recommendation to pass it on.
Move we approve this.
Make a motion to approve item.
Ed just made the motion.
I'll second.
All right. Motion by Ed, second by Marty. Any discussion? Okay,
I will say I've been working with Passarella and Andy and stuff. We've got a lot of updating that we're going to be trying to do to this GIS. A lot of the ponds, we're working to get them updated. The GIS hadn't really been updated since effectively since all the consolidation was done. The number of aerators aren't quite right. And we're actually going to try to model each of the compressors rather than just the site. So that we actually model the system so that when they get it over into their asset management system, they will actually have the proper assets recorded that they can track. And then on safety and security, there's been, we got the hump and redid one of the cul-de-sacs. We got a lot of sign updates that we need to do to get into the GIS so that they can get over. I don't know if they've moved any of this stuff over into system over here or
Some of it's
cartograph
getting,
or not.
yeah,
but
there's mapping things we're trying to
but
work
it's-
through, so.
Nobody's talked to us, so I don't know where that is, but there's going to be a lot of updating here to try to get it all up to snuff here very quickly so that they can get it over into Cartotech. So that in your ticketing system or the Click Fix will pick that stuff
See,
up.
Quick Fix rolls right into Cartograph. So you'll be able to grab that.
We have a motion and we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And so,
Aye.
thank you. So,
Oh, the reason why everyone is here.
Eat Joliet.
yeah. So this is the subject of the comments at the beginning. There was a lot of consternation, I believe,
With the dry run?
with our dry run of burning garbage on our streets.
So why was the gate left open?
Left,
That's my question.
left open?
Well, obviously it got opened up to let the fire truck in. And how did
They came in
We
the
came in the
front.
front.
it came in the front?
Yeah,
So
Fire
how
truck
did the
came in the
gate get
front.
open?
staff,
The staff was asked to open it
yes.
so that the people who were
We
blocked
opened it.
in could get out.
We opened it.
Emergency exit.
That was a mistake.
Why?
No, it wasn't. That's what we were asked to do. So,
Well,
I don't think that was the correct decision to make.
Would you rather have the people stuck there?
I think
Why didn't we have police presence during the fire to redirect the traffic on one side of the road?
They had both sides of the road cut, they had both sides of the road shut off. So the police were there. I have pictures from where the fire was. The police were there. The fire truck was on one side and the police had the other side of the road blocked off. So there was no option. Everything, it was completely blocked
There was no
off.
hurricane. There was no safety to the residents that would cause that gate to be opened and traffic transversing that one-way road.
Not true. Were you there, Marty?
There were people trapped in the back half of
I've-
Pelican that couldn't get out and we didn't know
You know,
how
it's supposed
long it was
be
going to be
open
like
during
that.
emergencies.
That was an emergency.
I think there's a couple issues, and our development order was modified, and I won't read the whole thing, but it authorized a limited purpose roadway, the limited use of roadway meaning that rear exit may be used for access to the GSCDD facilities. That means their staff can use it to come over here so they don't have to go all the way around.
We have stuff right there at the end of that road.
For emergency vehicle access and for emergency/evacuation purposes. The limited purpose roadway will otherwise prohibit ingress and egress by general public or residents of the Gateway or Pelican Preserve communities. I think part of the issue is defining, and probably staff needs to come up with what constitutes an emergency that would necessitate opening that rear gate. I think there's also an issue of the way this reads, it's for exit purposes only, not two-way traffic.
Correct. We do have very clear definement for, as far as like an evacuation in the event of a storm event, that is very clearly spelled out. This is something that has not come up before, so this was a new thing. So yeah, we have it all spelled out for what happens when we open it, when it stays open, who opens it. That's all laid out, but
And
this we don't.
clearly, police, fire, EMS, they can get through it anytime they want. And this had the roads blocked. That, to me, this was kind of on the borderline of emergency versus inconvenience. I mean, and that's where I think we need.
I think the
definition
thing that tripped it over that pushed it over the line for us to open the gates is because it was an indeterminate amount of time for how long it was going to be blocked. If we knew it was going to be like a half an hour, we wouldn't have opened them. But we didn't know how long it was going to be like that. And I think that was the reason why they did open the gates. Because you had a big part of your community that was trapped. They had no way to get in or out because the police had the fire on one side and police had the other side of the road blocked off. And they were telling people to turn around and go to the gate. So,
I know. But it's just, we need to have a clear documented definition of, to me, what, and
so the wrong use of that
people
road.
have that of when it's, CDD will open it for emergency exit purposes. From what I've heard, there were staff people on both ends of the roadway so that they could have two-way traffic flow, which should it just be exit only?
Yeah, I
and
agree.
Not entrance, being able to come in. Because, if somebody had a problem, so that's the. Joe,
You can't, Joe, you
this
can't,
is our discussion.
yeah.
So I don't disagree. I think that's a good idea for you to have that. I mean, you're never going to come up with every scenario. And I know what we had in the other instructions, it lays out like who declares an emergency, like when does it consider an emergency? Is it Lee County? Is it Chelsea? Is it the NOAA? We laid everything right out, like when winds reach a certain mile an hour, when the gatehouse evacuates, like all those things are all spelled up. We never did. What happens if we have a garbage truck fire?
Yeah.
We didn't think about that, so.
But we just need, and then on the community association side, we need to figure out how to communicate this effectively. Not only that you can exit through that gate, but then when is that gate, the emergency over and that gate's then closed and that sort of
How
thing.
long
So
was this shut off?
About an hour.
I think it was probably an hour and a half in total.
And this is, I mean, how many of these events are you gonna have in a year's time?
This was the first one since we've had the road, so and that's been over 3 years because that was before Chelsea came. I remember going down to the city.
It just shows
so.
it'd be good to have a
Well, our,
kind of,
But what
our,
if, yeah.
our community
agreed.
wasn't designed that way, to
I
have,
mean, you only had one way in and
Two
out
exits.
before we had the road, so if the road wasn't there, they would have been stuck anyway, so.
I don't think you can come up with every scenario that.
You're not, yeah,
you
you're
know,
not.
You just can't do it. It's a shame that it happened, but then it's inconvenience at that particular time, but I don't know that we can really have to sit down and wordsmith this thing forever.
We handled it the way that, because we were asked to open it, and it was the way that we and the community felt was most appropriate at that time. That's.
Was there any issues with the communication to Chelsea or whomever it was?
No,
to
I
open?
believe we were alerted to it within probably 15 minutes of when it happened, and we were there within probably 10 after that, so it wasn't very long at all that it was shut down.
There was
A
some,
resident contacted us, actually.
yeah, there was some conversation going on social media about how there was staff at the gate that they said they wouldn't open it. And I'm assuming it's because Chelsea hadn't given the okay.
Right, and that's absolutely correct,
Yeah.
and that's what they should do.
Now, one of the questions that we had heard is we know that we're not allowed to have the clicker or something to open it.
Mhm.
And to get this changed would be resubmitting the permit, correct? If
We would have to go back to the county and the city, yes. And because that's when, because I was part of all of that when it happened, that was one of the criteria for approving it, was that only GSCDD staff and emergency vehicles would be allowed access to the gate. And no one from, not the board, not staff, or not Pelican, nobody from there, just employees and emergency vehicles. And they were very adamant about that. But with that being said, should the consensus be that you, for some reason, you guys want us to go back, I mean, we can certainly ask the question. I don't know if it'll change anything, but if we're directed to go back and ask the question, if that can be changed, we can certainly ask the question, but not without clear direction to do so, so.
and I don't think it's trying to wordsmith every scenario, but to me, there ought to be some guidelines of,
I'm gonna mute her, she's noisy.
does somebody need to make the request? Or who can make a request to open it, or who can, or is it, and then how does the district respond? I don't know, to me, it just seems to be so open-ended. Is it just that, hey, if I see an issue, I can call up the thing and that will set things in motion? And, that's the question. Or does there need to be a formal notice from the gatehouse or the community association, or does just any resident call up, kind of start you guys looking into the process? That's
The phone call initiated it, and we had staff go out and put eyes on the situation and saw that both sides of the road were blocked off because of the fire. And then that was reported back to Chelsea, and that's when she made the call to open the gate, because it was entirely closed off. Because we were like, why aren't they just routing traffic down the other side? It's a two-way, it's a two-lane.
That would have been
But
logical.
it would have, yeah, but the police blocked off the one side, so there was no way for anyone to get through.
Well, I just know that we need to have a little bit more clarity on how communications are going to work.
Mhm.
And if we can have any more clarity on what would constitute an emergency.
I mean, if you guys want to take that as an action item and have some discussion, well, we could even maybe do a workshop, or if you want to come back and talk about it in the future. It needs to be collaborative. I don't think it should be us telling you what it is.
I agree.
It needs to be, between PPCA also, because it's their community as well. So who's going to be responsible for communicating?
must have been a real emergency to get that rooms to go truck out, huh?
Also, just when we put out bulletins about this, and, we had to get the whole community to vote on making it a new emergency access road. I mean, at that point, we said that EMS vehicles, fire trucks, and police cars will have a second access into our community. But how do they know that there's that second access?
They know it's there.
They know.
I think it's
They
part
know
of their
it's, yeah,
procedures.
they know it's there.
And they know to contact Gateway to open it
No,
up.
they don't need us to open it.
They've got
Yes.
transponders that
So why did the
override.
fire truck come through the regular gate?
because the fire station is
Right across the
right there
street.
at the
It would
front
take
gate.
them longer to go around to the back.
Got it.
They have an option depending on where they need to access in the community of coming in the front or going in the back.
Got it.
And I guess I'm not completely sold that we need to have more clarity because of the one-off nature of it, but I mean, it did ruffle a lot of feathers, so.
if we wouldn't have done it, it would have ruffled feathers. Because we did it, it ruffled feathers. I mean, it's like a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing. So
Yeah.
like I said, we did what we thought was the best thing to do at the time based on the current situation, so.
And of course, I wasn't in the community when this happened. So how did people in the community be notified that this was going on and how to egress the
That's the
community?
bigger issue.
Yeah, that I think is something that PPCA is looking into.
Laura, was there?
Okay.
I think it would have been like a shelter in place or something, so.
Laura, did you have a red alert?
A red alert. We talked about that after the fact, doing the code red. The problem is not everybody in Pelican is on our system, so we're trying to find a better way to get that out there, because we could have done a code red. Basically, like, just don't leave your house right now if you don't have to.
Right.
The roads are a mess. But yeah, we did talk about internally, what could we have done better? And that was one of the things, was to issue the code red. But again, that would not have reached all of Pelican because of the way that it's split, because it's only for our utility customers. So, which was the people in the back half of Pelican, but yeah, it wouldn't have reached
In
everyone.
this case, it worked.
Yeah, in this particular case, it would have got a hold of the right people. But yeah, we did talk about that after, like, we could have sent that out. We have the constant contact too, where we can do emails and email blast, but that only is as good as the people who have signed up for it.
Correct.
So.
And also, I thought there was an emergency alerts, text message throughout PPCA, but that's something we should double check, see if that's in place.
Well, you could have done it internally there, yeah.
Yeah, they did send out a text, but then
Didn't get,
a lot of people didn't receive it, so now they're looking into that.
Right, okay.
Okay, so we got Joe here for
Joe
comment.
Schofield, Karina, thank you, Peggy, for recognizing me. There were a lot of rumors about what went on and didn't go on. It was an emergency. People were stuck in half of the community. The money that was put up was coming from the old community to pay for that road. The residents in all of Pelican were sold that it was a road for emergencies, not just hurricanes. There were also commercial vehicles stuck there that had times and schedules that they had to meet that they couldn't meet. Somebody, even from what I heard, abandoned a car and walked back home. It was a mess. Besides all that, I think it would be good for this group. I think the CDD talked about some of this at their meeting the other day, and our PPCA group, to get to the real crux of the problem and develop a process to make it work properly. I heard the police weren't aware that there was a back exit. They weren't telling anybody to do it. The guard at the gate that has the car that could drive around was not present immediately. Now, this is all rumor. I don't have any facts. I don't know how many facts you all have. I think maybe you ought to put a group together and look at this and come up with a good plan that works for everybody in the community. And my dear friends that live in Prado, I think they have to bend a little bit and understand this is a rare incident. We've never opened that gate with all the hurricanes we've had. Now we have a fire. If they had a fire on the road that's coming out of Prado, what would they do? Say, oh, we have our own personal exit, we can use it, but the heck with the rest of the community? I think we have to have some common sense, work together as a community, and everybody come to an agreement, not fight these little battles. They're crazy. We need to help all the residents, support all the residents. That was an emergency. The road was completely blocked. There were people trying to get out for a reason. They weren't just driving around looking at the community. So I urge you, Peggy, to maybe try to get a couple people that can talk to the security people. Why didn't they do maybe what they should have done? See if the police department actually is aware that they know that there's a back gate. Work something out with Laura so that they get better information and they have the proper authority and procedures to open it, and that the residents know about it. I didn't know a thing about it, and it was right up the road from me. I didn't see any flame, smoke, hear any fire engines or anything. But please don't argue about all this stuff. Get the details, the facts, and put a good program together that benefits all of us. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Any other comments?
Just Mike's, I've heard some talk to
Can you
Cece
say it?
Haas,
Okay,
Cece
thank
Haas
you.
from Casella.
I know who you are.
Little bit of talk today in this discussion about whether or not people should be allowed to leave. First of all, I was leaving the complex, going toward the front entrance, and a police officer redirected me to the back gate. So he definitely knew we had a back gate, and he said, you need to go out by Prado. No problem. I had a doctor's appointment that I'd been waiting 3 months to get. In my case, I would have been very upset if I had not been allowed to exit. Now, was it an emergency exit? No, but I think things have to be variable conditions. I just think that has to be taken into account. That's all. Thank you.
Other comments?
You were actually at the scene then, Cece?
I beg your pardon?
Were you at the scene itself where the fire was at?
I never got that far. Police officer, I got to turn onto Cypress Grove, but they wouldn't let you make that turn, and he said, just make a U-turn.
Okay, I see you were, can you come up, please? I'm at the scene. I'm curious.
I was not at the accident.
Why was law enforcement shutting down the exit road? And then because the fire was on the entrance road, right?
So the fire was on the, I think that's westbound side of Cypress Grove. As you
Okay,
know,
all
Cypress
right.
Grove has 2 lanes on one way and then a big old median and 2 lanes on the other way.
Right,
Okay, so
correct,
it was on the westbound lane. I
Okay,
think my directions are right on that one. And then, so the fire was about midway between Cypress Grove on the west. The
okay,
cops shut it down, because I talked to the cop about all of this, because I was in the 100 lines of cars trying to go from the town center back to where I live, or
Right.
wherever, the front gate. The cop said that they shut it down at about 10:30. They were there within a few minutes and they shut it down. That's when the fire happened, within a few minutes of that 10, 15 minutes. The procedure is they had to evacuate the entire truck so that they could spray and also then put the whatever dry element they have on that. So by 11:30, when I spoke to the police, they were letting golf carts go on the other side. So that would be the eastbound side. So when I talked to the police at that time, and I said, look, you're letting golf carts go. There's walkers of dogs and everybody coming back and forth. There's bicycles going back and forth. Can't you just open that one little road?
right.
Because it had been out at that point. This was 11:30. I said, just that one little lane. And then you could do it like one guy could be at one side and go, okay, now you guys go. And then one guy could be, why can't you guys? And he said, that's not our procedure, ma'am. Okay.
Was the fire truck on the eastbound lane?
No, westbound. It was on the west side of the westbound lane, right next to the curb and the grass.
Where the irrigation.
You can see it.
I know where the garbage truck was and where the fire was, but where did the fire truck? He was probably on the south lanes heading east because he came in, right?
At first, no, they were all kind of collected on that one side. At one point, there's a little spot between the 2 medians. That's where the fire trucks were. They moved around a lot. And then at the end, they had another, around 11:45, they had another truck, a garbage truck, come to then put all the stuff back in. And they came through the front gate and came down the westbound lane going the opposite way.
But I was just saying, if the fire trucks were coming in from the front gate, going down Pelican, they would have turned onto the eastbound lanes.
Yeah.
And the fire was on the westbound lanes on the north side. So the fire blocked 2 lanes going west, and the fire truck probably arrived and set up on the eastbound lane to fight the fire. And then they probably moved around.
It was, at that point,
So
it was
that's why
out
they were
though.
both,
It
that's
was
why
out.
they
So
were, all 4 lanes
let's-
were blocked.
Let's bring it back. Do you have?
I
We
know.
only got 15 minutes. We have to be out of here because there's another
You know,
meeting.
I'm glad I wasn't there. The only comment I had was in regards to communication. You know, trying to find the perfect system to get things out there is near impossible, no matter what the issue is. But if we have somewhere to go to find that information, so like, you know, if you have a notice out on the gateway side, I don't know where the perfect spot is, but, you know, at least if you have access that way, we're responsible to go get the information versus having to push it out would be
That's another option as
my
well.
thoughts.
Yeah,
That's-
thank you.
I do have.
Okay.
What I was trying to get to, and I think the lady there kind of helped me out there, but I'm thinking of my old days in the state patrol. We would have made sure that that one lane was open so that people could go one direction, stop them, and other people get back up. I don't quite understand why he would just say that's procedure and that never happened. That just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Alan, I've talked to the police here about several different incidences, and their procedures are they will close down the roads no matter what the traffic situation is, and they will keep it closed down as long as they want to and as long as they feel they have to. And my question was on this. Ooh. I need an emergency.
Open the gate.
If we had a problem on that diamond, I said, would you get a lane open? They said, no, we'd close that thing down all day long if we felt we needed to. And I said, that's only, that.
Well, we're not going to be
You know,
able to influence them.
That's what
so-
I'm requesting. Get the real facts. And now we're after the fire is over. Equipment's moved around, it's shifted. You need to go and find out what the details are from the time that started.
Well,
I can, if I could interject, I'm pulling up a picture that we have, and you were absolutely correct. The police have the truck with the flaming, well, it's not flaming, it's out by this point. Pile of garbage, burnt garbage is on one side of the road. The fire truck is on the other side of the road with the police officer blocking it off. So you had a fire on one side blocking it, and the fire truck and the police on the other side. So there was nowhere for anyone to
Yeah.
go.
I
have a picture of it.
And they don't know
we're
what
not
kind
going to
of
make any
chemicals.
difference with what happened at this point. The only thing that we can do is just make sure that we can figure out a communication plan that's going to work. We are not going to inform the police on what their procedures are.
Won't change,
They
no.
will not change. So let's not waste any effort on that. And let's just make sure, but Patricia, if we wanted to be able to have you working with the PPCA on ensuring that we've got a push notification system, is that a possibility?
Yes, it is. It's a possibility. I would like to take that on and
Okay.
report back to you at the next meeting.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that is the best thing that we can do at this point, if,
How to communicate it.
without getting into the wordsmithing of emergencies and things of that nature. So I think that's the
Common
way that we'll
sense.
approach this.
Agreed.
Okay,
All right.
member reports. John, did you have anything?
Nothing, I didn't already report on.
Thank you. Ed?
Nothing.
Peggy, nothing.
Nope.
I'm done with bridges.
He's done with bridges.
I have one
Patricia?
thing. I'll have,
Okay,
oh,
hang on,
sorry. I forgot
Patricia.
about Patricia.
Nothing from me. No.
Thank you.
We're going to have a staff line in your agendas going forward, just in case I have anything. I just wanted to let you know that we are following up on your request from last time to look into your Zamboni of sidewalk cleaners.
Thank you.
As well as quotes to have someone do the pressure washing. So the one quote that I saw so far, I'm sure that is about $43,000 for the year to do the pressure washing. We're looking at, Mark has been very busy. I've been watching lots of YouTube videos of things that he's found. So we'll have some stuff put together for you, but we are actively pursuing that.
I appreciate that effort. So,
Your next meeting is scheduled for November 13th. Is anybody not going to be here? Alan? Okay.
Unless you want me back from sharing.
there.
You up on your Mandarin?
Oh, okay.
So no Alan?
No
Everybody
Alan
else?
at this point.
Patricia, are you going to be back by then?
Yes, I will be. I'll be at the
Okay.
meeting.
And we don't know about Tom because he's not here.
We
so.
don't, but I'm assuming he'll be back. All right, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion by Alan, second by Ed. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right,
Aye, aye,
thank
aye.
you all.
Ed, don't leave. I